Hello, how's everyone doing? Hope everyone's okay. It's been a really crazy couple of weeks, hasn't it? Like, really crazy. A lot of people are asking about, is Bitcoin correlated with stocks? Is this why we're being dragged down? I have to say at the moment, I think we're being dragged down because of the coronavirus, and everything is being dragged down because of it. It's a big unknown. And one of the problems is that no matter how big of a safe haven Bitcoin is, if people need money and they're invested in it, they're going to cash in some of their investment if they need it. If you're a fund and everything else you've got is, falling and looking really awful and you don't want to take a loss on it, you're going to have to sell something that you probably don't want to sell to cover. This is why we've seen before in previous big stock market sell-offs, we've seen gold fall, because gold is a safe haven, or should be. But the problem is that sometimes, people need margin. They need to, if the price of a stock goes down a lot and you want to hold it because you think it's going to go back up again, you need to put up more margin. And so sometimes you have to sell the things you don't want to sell, rather than the things you can't sell. So that's why we see gold, come off. So in this case, I do think that what I do think, though, is that there is quite a good correlation between Bitcoin and stocks at turning points. So, for example, from the sort of 2015, 2016, this rally was very correlated. Bitcoin topped out first in December 2017, and the S&P didn't top out until the end of January, 4 weeks later. But that was pretty close. And when we look at this ABC correction that we made that bottomed in April 2018, that was pretty correlated. The S&P kept rallying, Bitcoin unfortunately didn't. But what's quite interesting as well is when we made a low in December 2018, we made it mid-month in the Bitcoin, and we made it on around, the 22nd. So 4 days later in the S&P. So Bitcoin does tend to lead the S&P a bit. When we look at the highs that we made in June, Bitcoin made a high first, and then the S&P made a high a little bit later at the end of July, but then it didn't fall. Then we had a big divergence, and what we've done since then is had a bit of a coming together, and this is all due to the virus. Now, the high that we made in Bitcoin was the 12th of February. The high that we made in the S&P was 4 or 5 days later on the 19th of February. So we're in that situation where, once again, we are seeing, Bitcoin leading at turning points. But is the stocks falling the cause? Maybe a little bit, but it's all a big risk off because of the uncertainty. So I think if we can get a bottom in Bitcoin, which I'm quite optimistic about, then there's quite a good chance that we could see a similar bounce in stocks. So once we start to see Bitcoin, we could also see the same. I'm kind of thinking, that we will see a bounce around here in stocks, and I'll talk about why in a minute. So in fact, let's get that chart up here. So here's my chart of the S&P. We don't need these. I'll take these away. And I'm going to put this fib that I've got here down to the lows. I was just looking at something. So here we are down at the 38.2 fib retrace from the 2009 lows. The S&P really loves the 38.2 fib retrace. It will often turn at one if it can. It loves the 38.2, and it also loves the 78.6. So if we look down on a daily, you can see that we're almost here. I would really, really like to see us bounce from this level. Another reason, at the moment, we had a valiant end of week rally last week to get us back above the weekly 200 moving average into the close. We've got 7 nights until, 6 nights from tonight until this weekly candle closes again. We could very easily have a look down here and bounce back up and recover this 200 moving average, which is really important for the S&P. The reasons that I'm looking at the S&P instead of another different stock index is it's got 500 stocks in it. So it's quite a broad index rather than the Dow, which only has 30, or the DAX, which only has 30. So potentially, pretty good support here. Also, you know, markets really like symmetry. If we measure in terms of points, how far did we fall in the 2008 crisis? And we project that from up here. I haven't got it on the low. I know, don't say anything yet. At the moment, around here is the equal measured move from this, from the 2008 crisis. And in corrections, you know, you'll very often see that symmetry. So I do think that there's a very good chance around here that we could see a bounce. The problem is, almost always, corrections are 3 waves. So if we look back, this was 3 waves here. This was 3 waves here. It was a bit of an irregular. And we've really fallen in a straight line in these stock indexes. So although I really like this support level, I think there's a very good chance that we rally only so far and then we'll see another leg lower. Maybe down to this 50%. That would be quite a common level, and that would be 50% of the whole rally in a nice ABC correction. I wouldn't be surprised to see that at all. That would take us around to about the 2000 level, and that would be 50% of the rally from 09. Sometimes though, if this is not like, if this is it would be much more bullish if this whole, if say this is a wave 1, 2 and 3 and this is the big wave 4, well, we might in fact get a much bigger rally than we're expecting, because the, you know, the central banks have injected a whole bunch of, well, fuel on the fire really. If we recover very quickly from this virus, we've got a whole bunch of liquidity in the system that needs to go somewhere. So we could see, you know, I wouldn't be surprised to see, to be honest, if we recover quickly from this virus, new highs rather than the major depression that everybody's talking about. And in that case, what we might see is a bit of this and a wedge or a triangle before we carry on higher. So yes, is it all similar? Yes. Does it mean the economy is great? No, you know, we could have a lot of trouble you know, but that's the potential. So I do think around here or a little bit lower. So today or tomorrow is turnaround Tuesday, or this week we could see a bounce in stock indexes. And I'm going to say, if we close back again, if we make a big hammer candle again, and if we close back above this weekly 200 moving average again, which is at 26.41, I'm going to put my very bullish hat on. If we can't, if we rally up and we get stuck underneath it and it becomes resistance, then we can all put our bear suit on. So 26.41 is going to be for me in the S&P kind of the bull bear place. So that's why gold falls with, so that's why all assets tend, like in a crisis, all assets tend to fall. Now, and that also means that if stocks do make a bit of a bottom here, that we could also see gold rally as well, which sounds crazy, I know, but if it starts to rally and people don't trust the rally, but they think, oh, it's going up, I better buy something, they might, you know, we could see a recovery in gold as well. At the moment, we're sitting around this 200 moving average. The buyers have stepped in. It's the 38.2 fib from last August, August 2018 low. We've got a nice 5 waves up in gold. And so this is a pretty good place. I'm going to take this one away. This is a pretty good place. Daily 200 moving average 38.2 for gold to rally from. And it wouldn't be completely ridiculous for it to rally with stocks. I'm just saying. What did have a very bad day today is silver. Silver's very often the more technical. I'm going to put a weekly chart on to look at the scale, because this is all today's move in silver. I think if we, on the weekly, can rally back and hold this 886 fib level, it could be pretty good support. Other fib levels in this kind of retrace sequence have been. So it may be that we're a little bit overdone, but we need to regain 1317 in silver for that to happen. But if gold rallies, then I could see that happen in silver as well. So that's where we are, and that's the correlation, I think, with stock indexes. So let's go to Bitcoin, because if Bitcoin's going to lead, Bitcoin's got to make a bottom here first. Now, I don't like how, at the moment, with this open, we're holding underneath the 200 moving average in Bitcoin. I'm going to say first off that weekly 200 moving average is my bull bear line. If we can't get back above 5,400, we're not going to rally. 5,450 actually. At Bitstamp, your mileage may vary a little bit, like $20 depending on your exchange, but that's our key level. Also, if we look at harmonic patterns and we put our fibs from the December 2018 low to the high that we made in June 2019, we are bouncing from an 886 fib level and a bat pattern. It's a bit funky. This is a bit funky because the ABC correction that we did in the middle, I think we did a big A, and then we went A, B, C in a kind of flat, irregular correction. And here we've reached down to where this first leg, C equals A. This is normally a really good place for us to rally from here on the weekly. So, you know, Bitcoin loves to retest the lows, do a deep, deep pullback. And so I'm looking for this to hold on a deep pullback and a rally. And if we can get back above 5,450, then I think that we can look to at least 8,500 from here. And the reason is, in a harmonic back pattern, if you reverse it an 886 fib, the fib below it is like resistance. If you get above it, then your target is back to the 50% level. First target. Second target would be 11,373. So I'm not that bearish yet. So that's my weekly view of Bitcoin. Here we are consolidating. Now on the daily, we've been back and forward through this level that's like our confirmation level. Like, you know, it's not there, like up and down, you know. I was going to say something rude then, but let's not. So we've got 5 days of sideways consolidation. Clearly, if we close below this 886 level, fib level, then I'm wrong and we're headed lower and it's all over. And if we make a new low below the lows that we made in December 2018, you know, then maybe we can talk about going to 2,000 or something like that. I'm not sure that we go actually that far. If I measure from this high to this low like this, and I project it from here, then a little bit lower than here, if we look, say this is just a big A, B, C correction, a little bit lower than here, 36.55, is where this second swing is 61.8 of that first swing. That's a very common place in a correction. So if we're going to do one of those really dirty moves in Bitcoin where we do one more low and catch everybody, 36.55 could very well be where we find support. And if we go to the daily and we look at it and we think that this last leg needs 5 waves down, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that's where I would be looking for. So 36.55. Now if we get down there, I'm thinking that we bounce pretty sharply. So that's what I would be looking for. I think that any dip down there might be short-lived. We're not going to hang around. Meatfish says, let's be honest, if we go that low for after the halving, then miners will go out of business and Bitcoin is in real trouble. Do you know, Bitcoin is big business for everybody. It's up to, you know, I think that I'd be shocked if that happened. Let's put it that way. I'd be shocked if the miners let that happen. And I think so. I am looking for a bullish reversal here. If we make one more nasty little dive lower in a wave 5, then around 36.70 is where I think, if I've drawn it correctly. I've got it a Bitstamp. I like to use Bitstamp for charting because it has the best history. Let me make sure I've drawn it completely correctly. Yeah, 36.55. So I think we're very close to a bottom here at 4,000, but there is a chance that we see 36.55 in a kind of short-lived move. Okay? I know everyone else thinks that the world is ending. Listen, if you're in a country where you've got this virus really badly, you're stuck at home, it's very scary, you've got a little... I totally understand how scary that is. Like, I'm shocked by, you know, how underprepared as a country, so many countries are, for a lot of people to be sick at once. And so, not everyone's having a good time with this. A lot of people's businesses are in trouble. A lot of people are worried about how they're going to go to work and feed their families. So I'm not going to make light of this. It's pretty nasty. But I'm really hoping it's short-lived, that the numbers, turn around pretty quickly. And, we have it like China, where we get out of it very quickly and it doesn't turn into a disaster. A lot of businesses, the problem is that a situation like this exposes all the businesses that weren't in good shape. So there were all these businesses that borrowed far too much money because we've had zero interest rates for far, far too long. Nobody has any savings because you don't earn any money saving. So people have invested it in property or things that are going up in value because, just because you can't earn any money having savings at the bank. And because the interest rates have been so low, it's incentivized companies to borrow. Companies are massively over-leveraged. And there are companies who have been issuing debt, so selling corporate bonds and using the money to buy back their stock, which boosts their stock price. And they think they're legends and they've done absolutely nothing for it. And if those companies go out of business, they don't deserve a bailout. It's a disgrace. Sorry, Emily said, can I, don't forget the CME gap. No, I looked at the SBX at the beginning. I think we're very close to a bounce level, if not tomorrow, Wednesday, in the S&P. So, the Fed fired a very large cannon last night with that liquidity and, a whole basis point race cut. We're seeing things at the moment and moves at the moment that we did not see in 2008. Last week was worse than 2008. And watching Bitcoin go down 30% in an hour, that was quite something, And the same with oil. Today with silver, there are some really quite, shocking market moves going on. But Nick, the data for quarter 2 is likely to be abysmal. How can we expect a V-shaped recovery? We're not going to get a V-shaped recovery. Let's go to the S&P 500. The market's closed now, so let me just take this off. And we'll go to a weekly chart again. Listen, we've gone, almost every correction, when you go back and you look at it, it's 3 waves. ABC, or here, ABC. Corrections are almost always 3 waves. We have not done really 3 waves. We could look at this and say, maybe we have a correction would normally be an equal measured move or through 5 waves. Now, if you're super bearish, we would look for this to get to the 1.618 and then a rally and then a 5th wave down. But at the moment, I feel like this has just been one straight move, and we're going to see a bounce and then another leg lower before this correction is over. And if we do that, then the likely place, I think, if we make new lows on the next wave, would be 50% back from the 2009 low. At the moment, we're right at that 38.2 fib retrace level. But if we do one more swing lower, then we'd be looking for 2036. So our chart pattern would look something like this, Just, wait, wrong. We'd make a base around here, 50% back, and then, something like that. And then we'd bottom out, later on. The Dalek says China has 1 billion people and only got 80,000 people infected. Did they only get 80,000 people infected? How do we know how many people were infected? I don't trust anything, but you're right. The problem is that when we look at the Spanish flu, okay, so in the Spanish flu, we had one year we had this many people infected, and then everybody thought it went away, and then boom, we had the next run of it, and so then it did this, So everybody's going, oh, we're here, and this is going to happen, and that could be quite nasty. Yeah, no problem. We'll add Matic. Okay, so don't forget the CME gap. Right, let's look at this. So futures. Okay, yeah, we've got this. You're right. We've got this CME gap here. I'm going to take those fibs away, and that becomes our resistance. So it's still today's high, and this gap here, which I think what you're trying to say. You know, sometimes we see the gap filled, don't we? And then, oh, you mean the gap up here, 8,500 for our target? Yes, this is our lovely 8,500 target up here. If we can rally from here, we'll get our gap filled. There's, okay, Meatfish says it's the panic rather than the actual numbers. You know, the markets have got so much faster than they used to be at pricing in stuff. Really pricing in stuff. They really are. What I've also noticed here is let's put an RSI on. So we've got some bullish divergence going on here. I know that on its own, bullish divergence is not a buy signal. That's the weekly. But I think if you get a combination of bullish divergence and you get a good level and then you start to see signs of reversal, that's a sign. So when you use an RSI, it's based on closing prices. So here we have bullish divergence because we have lower lows on closing prices, and here on the oscillator we have higher lows. So probably going to have to move this. There we go. There you can see what I mean. So this is bullish divergence. So I would not be surprised at all if we see, after the Fed fired such a massive cannon, that it feeds through and we start to see that. Okay, we're not going to go to this 2000 level, this 50% Goldman level in a straight line. We are going to bounce here first, especially if they're calling that. That's because they know it's the 50% as well, I think. Okay, so let's go back and look at some more. So we've talked about why I think we could be looking for Bitcoin. So what have we got going on here on the hourly? Well, I've been looking at this today. We're just making a bit, you know, when your moving averages go flat, you're making a bit of a pattern on an hourly. I thought we might have a nice harmonic pattern going on here. I was looking down at this 886. We've bounced off it pretty nicely. I thought we had a back pattern going on. Okay, so we bounced off our 886 fib. 50% we're a little bit stuck at. I'm looking for us to break out of here. If we can't, then, you know, carry on lower. So this is pretty crucial right where we are now. So I've got my fingers and toes crossed. If we can't break higher than this 51.90, then we'll do that one more leg push lower 36.55 thing. So there we go. Okay, so if you go to CoinMarketCap or you look at anything else and you see, and you go and search for screen for what coins are outperforming Bitcoin, I'm going to save you a bit of time. Almost none. No coins. Almost no coins are outperforming Bitcoin. There are a few of the big ones that are doing kind of the same as Bitcoin, kind of performing the same, but everything else is performing like heck. Crypto as a whole, apart from a few tiny shit coins that are not on exchanges that anybody trades, is in a bit of trouble at the moment. So everything is going down. So when we looked last week, for example, let's go. I'm going to follow the list at the top of the thing. So we're going to start with Litecoin. Okay. So for example, when we looked at Litecoin and we said, you know, we need to really kind of, we've got sideways consolidation after a big drop. If we look at this in terms of daily candlesticks, when you have a big down drop candle like this with a big body and tiny little wicks either end, the 50% back of that candle is a resistance line. It's called a Marubosu candle, and the 50% back is called a Marubosu line. If you stay in the bottom half of that candle, your little inside bars are not bullish haramis, they're just haramis. and you stay bearish. Once you get above that, they become bullish haramis, and then we can talk about a reversal. So at the moment, I'm going to say that we're still in a little bit of a downtrend in Litecoin, and we risk a retest of the lows at 22.66 unless we can get out of the top of this sideways range. So Hop says you love Bitcoin, but all those bastard shitcoins have ruined it. You know, there were so many of them, weren't there? I'm surprised nobody's done an ICO for toilet rolls and tokenized it. You know, that's how bad it was with those shitcoins. I agree. Yeah. Okay, so Litecoin. Another way to look at where our reversal would take the whole swing and look for the 236 fib. Okay, because that's your first fib retrace level. If you go beyond that 236 fib, which no coincidence is at the same price here, then we're going up. So whilst we stay under 39.04 in Litecoin dollar, we're still going down. And if we're going down against the dollar, it doesn't matter if it's going up against Bitcoin or not. So Eric says there actually is a toilet paper coin. Oh, God. I think exactly right, Adrian, about the weekly moving average being support and resistance. But remember, that's on a weekly. If it's a weekly moving average, then the weekly close is what's important. Okay? So weekly close, so when you're looking at a daily moving average, the daily close is important. So we can have a look above and below these moving averages intraday, but where we close becomes important. So we're still in a downtrend in Litecoin US dollar. I do think we're going to see, we've got some bullish divergence coming in this one, but I really want to see it above 39.04 to say that we are on our way up again. And when we come back up, we'll look at 50% of this drop, and we'll look at the 200-day moving average first off, and that would take us up to 57. That's pretty nice trading when you think about it, but only then can we say, well, okay, we've made a bottom. Otherwise, we're at risk of a retest of the lows in Litecoin. So hang on, and let's get a better signal. If we look at, XTZ, let's see this one. Now, I'm going to start on the daily chart in XTZ, because this has been pretty, all the way back, look. Regular candles. Another one which made a spectacular bounce. I'm going to take all of these off. Spectacular bounce around this daily 200 moving average, but we couldn't. If we look at this, let's take this away. We could not close more than 50% up on this big red candle. And when you look at where the 50% is, you're looking at the body. So that's from the open, the close. You don't count the tails. And so we could not get and close above that here in XTZ dollar. And so we're still going down. And today we lost the 200 moving average, which is a little bit worrying. So now we're going to be in the same position as Bitcoin. We're going to look for a retest of the lows to tell us that we've made a bottom. And this coin's quite good at that, you know. It's quite good at retesting highs and lows. Double toppy here, same here. These highs we retested. You know, even these lows, look. Doubles, you know, it does like to retest. So if we can hold 1.115, which is this 886 fib level, then potentially we've got a chance of rallying. There's also, if we zoom left here, a pretty good support and resistance level here. But let's take it to there. So that's not quite okay. See what I mean? In fact, we could go all the way, couldn't we, and say pretty good support and resistance level at 1.11. So now we need to watch on a lower time frame, see if we can hold these lows on a retest, draw it as a big wedge, wait for the breakout. So our first warning that we're going up again would be, I think, if we can break this wedge. I'm going to touch this here, a little bit of an, maybe I'll widen it out just to be sure. I would put my alert there. That would be your first warning that potentially we're reversing the trends here in XTZ dollar. And if we look where that breakout would come, that would be back above the 200 moving average. So if you want to put a flat price on it, it's 152 at the moment. So above 152 and this wedge, we can look for ups. Otherwise, let it build a bit of a base here and see if we can hold 1.11. I know I'm looking at everything against the dollar, but to be honest, if it's not going up against the dollar, you might as well be in Tether or TrueCoin, or I'm going to take a quick look at it against Bitcoin, because you can see this is, again, it's a pretty good level here against Bitcoin, this hash line. If we put our fibs on this swing, are we at that 61.8 level here? We should be. Yes, double bottom at the 61.8. If we take the retrace from the all-time lows, we're at the 50%. So in XTZ Bitcoin and XTZ, and in fact, if we look at the closing prices here, this is a really good level. This is a great level for Tezos to retest and rally from. But at the moment, have we got enough evidence? No. Let's see if we can do it again and then turn around. Now, if I was drawing this, I would say from this high, for my first warning that we're going up, I would say would be back above this 236 fib maybe. I don't know. I'd watch this price action here and see if we can hold it on the retest. What would a fail look like? If we get underneath it and get rejected at this level, that's a failure. So in XTZ Bitcoin, 2463 is our big combination of levels that we would like to see hold. And if Bitcoin could rally from where we are, no reason why this shouldn't do it as well, because it's been outperforming pretty nicely up till now. Link, I knew somebody were going to be asking me for Link. What a horror show Link has been in the moves lower. We'll start with Link Bitcoin. Like a lot of coins, Link Bitcoin's at one of two levels where I'd be looking for a pullback to. 38.2 fib, these previous messy highs. But if we go to a daily, the 200 moving average is a bit lower, and it suggests that we may lose this level and continue down to the 50%. So now, I know 38.2 fib levels are messy, but we need to be watching this level pretty closely. At the moment, you know, we've had a little bit of a swing failure. That's where we make a new low, but we can't hold below. And so we're bouncing back. Potentially, that could be a little bit bullish, but gosh, it's not compelling when we look at it like this, is it? I would like to see some green here before I buy. I'm not sure if we're going to hold this on a retest or not, or if we're going to drop down to 28,800. So I'm sitting on my hands and I'll see how this looks tomorrow. Potentially, we're at a really good place to bounce at 35,500. If we lose it, that's level though. 28,800 is where we go next, and the 200-day moving average. So, no, I'm not in a rush to buy, I'm afraid, this one. Link US dollar. If it's all going to work, hopefully, this should be at a good support level. It's really these previous lows, isn't it? We can take those away now. Yeah. It's certainly the bottom of the zone, isn't it? This is, if we look at it that way, this is a big fat sideways zone. Here's our highs, and here's our bottom of the range, and we're almost back at the bottom of the range. So I could see this turning here. What I'd like to see, though, is a pretty nice, again, double bottom and some green to get me excited. Otherwise, I think it's not quite ready yet. Let's put it that way. Okay, ETH. I'm going to take a quick peek at let's take a quick peek at ETH Bitcoin before we look at ETH US dollar, because we really do want to see we're going to invest a load in ETH rather than which I seem to have lost. That's weird. Okay, here we go. We really want to see if ETH outperforming against Bitcoin before we really pile into a load of Ethereum. Now, we were seeing that before this big collapse. Are we still, or are we at a level where we'd want to buy ETH Bitcoin? I'm going to say not yet. Still in a downtrend. Haven't tested this 200 moving average yet, and I'm going to say probably not quite there unless we do something spectacular. But it's not that of a serious of a downtrend, so maybe not too bad to diversify a little bit into ETH. When I look at ETH on a weekly chart though, I'm a little bit concerned here. I feel like we're setting up a big retest of these lows, mainly because if I draw my fib from here to here, we can't hold these previous lows, and we can't hold this 886 fib level, and that's what we really kind of need to do. It's at 1296 if we're going to rally from here with a nice looking double bottom. This weekly, you know, I know it's the beginning of the week, by the end of the week this could be green and halfway up here, but at the moment it's looking like, oh, we're losing support after a really good bounce to hold it at the end of last week. So sideways range for now, but at risk of heading lower. So for me, there's no reason I want to buy ETH at the moment yet, and I haven't got a good enough reason. If this turns into what it's looking like is a big wedge or triangle, unfortunately these normally have this shape, normally happens in a wave 4, so I think we're still at risk of another leg lower unless we take out these highs and reverse the trend. If you think a downtrend is lower lows and lower highs, as soon as you take out these lower highs here, we've turned it around. But for now, I still think ETH has got further to fall, and I'm out of it. I think it'll follow Bitcoin higher, but I think Bitcoin could go first, and so I'm going to stay out until then. Okay, Ripple. Lars, you've rationed a Bloody Mary. Good luck with your quarantine, Lars. I really do feel for you. Stay safe. Okay. I've got this is a log chart of Ripple dollar. I'm going to put it back to regular. A log chart is really good for looking at the waves and counting where you are. But as you can see, we're in a little bit of trouble. If I put my fibs on from the all-time lows to highs in this Ripple dollar Poloniex chart, you know, we had a really good attempt to hold an 886 fib, and then the fib after that is a 942, and we haven't. So I'm going to take these fibs away and say, let's just look at support and resistance and where we might find some. We've got some pretty good lows around here, maybe here or maybe a little bit higher, and we're sitting on these lows at the moment. So we had a look underneath, held them to support, and here we are just sitting on this level. So that's where this support level comes from, all the way back here. So potentially we could be done and we could rally from here. What's going to tell us that we're rallying rather than just going to continue, rather than this just being a bear flag in a downtrend? I'm going to say 236 fib from here. Put it on. A close above it. Now that we've got this low and we haven't been able to close above it, it's at 0.1571. So Ripple dollar, a daily close above 0.1571. Up we go. Jonathan Coleman says, on the BTC miners going out of business, it's a wildfire. Miners and hash powers have been great, and what they've become is very centralized as well. So it used to be lots of small people mining, and they had a kind of herd behavior, whereas now, you know, these are just, you know, massive companies with massive firepower. I think that they are very bad news, because it's like, you know, everybody having all their money in one bank. If the bank goes out of business, we're all screwed. You know, whereas lots of little people were mining, it was a much better, safer, let's put it that way. This is the purge, Jonathan says. I'm not sure we're quite there yet. Let's see what happens after the halving. You know, could this be the end of Bitcoin? God, I hope not. Anyway, here we are at Ripple. Very good support level. Back above 0.1571 Ripple dollar, I would be excited. And if we look at Ripple Bitcoin, let's see which. Let's do Binance. There we go. Our resistance is this wonderful 200 moving average. Also, I'm going to put my fibs on from this low to this high and this 50% level. It's all at the same place. And we are stuck. So Ripple should outperform Bitcoin, but only if we can get above 28.92. We've been here at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These are big dojis. That's indecision. But we have not managed to close above it. So above 28.92, we will see Ripple outperform Bitcoin. We will have held a really good weekly 886 fib level. So if we do that, we can see then where our target is. It's all the way up here. First is a retest of the big 786. So that's at 49.17. If we break above that, then we've got this massive target up here. So we've got a pretty nice setup, I think, here in Ripple against Bitcoin. Just we haven't broken out. So we know very clearly what our breakout is going to look at. Now, the problem with a level like this, when everybody in the market is looking at the same thing, is you get fake outs. So we'll all draw this 50% level like this. So, and everybody in Ripple will go, oh, okay, when we get, above 28.92, up we go. And so you can get little fake out moves that suck you in and then drop you all the way back again. So what would look like we're really going up here, and this is a 15-minute chart, is if we got above this level and then found support from it on a back test, that would be proof that we're going up. So 28.92 Ripple Bitcoin is the level to watch. In ADA, all of these coins, you will see we've had a really nasty drop, and then we've got a sideways consolidation range, and we haven't managed to break back up. So in ADA dollar, and I'm looking at dollar because, if dollar's stable, Bitcoin isn't. So the same thing we've got going on here, 50% of this big red candle. If we can get beyond that, 50% of the open close, ADA will be going up. If we can get above the 236 fib from this high, ADA will be going up. That's at the same level. So 31.221 is our bull bear line for ADA US dollar. Whilst we stay underneath that and in the bottom half, we're just hopefully building a base. Hopefully we'll retest the lows, make a nice double bottom, something like that. But we're not going to get excited and bullish until we see that happen. God, we'll look at this even lower. Let's see. So, is that having any effect? Probably not, but no, not really. Oh, it has become a bit of support and resistance, hasn't it? 25,600 then is going to be the first hurdle, and that previous low. So no, ADA dollar at the moment, not for me, until we can turn the ship around or build a bit of a base. Now ADA Bitcoin does look a little bit better. It's a bit of an argument about around the 200 moving average, but to be honest, if it's going down against the dollar, I'm not going to be that interested, and so I'm going to sit it out, I'm afraid. If you're in ADA, clearly we've built a very good base here, quadruple bottom at 396. That's probably where, if we head down again, that we will retest. Okay, I'm going to let you argue about hash power, and we are going to look at Atom. Okay. Now, if we consider that most corrections are big ABCs, that's what I'm looking at here, very often the second leg is 61.8 of the first leg in Atom dollar, which would have been here at 1.854, and we have not been able to sustain it. We're underneath it. In fact, we're underneath these previous lows. I'm not going to count that. Let's just count it as support and resistance and say, we've lost these previous lows, and we're struggling to get back above them. So in Cosmos US dollar, if we stay in this position, then we're going to be looking for fib extensions from this correction, which would mean we're going to look for the 113, 1272. and we'll down to the 1.618 even. Okay, so whilst we stay underneath 1.87, we're looking for support at 1.4, potentially if that goes 0.888 in Cosmos US dollar. So not in a great place to buy it yet, lest we regain these previous lows. Let's take a look at against Bitcoin. Now this was the level we were looking for. This should be support. It's also the bottom of a parallel channel. It's a nice fib. If we go this way, we go from this high 61.8236. But if we do it the other way, say where are we in fib retraces from this here, we've tagged this 786 fib level. If we look at previous fib levels, did they work? Yes, this 50% did pretty nicely. This 236 was resistance, so we'll allow it. Okay, so if we apply the rules that if you bounce from a fib level, you need to get above the previous one, which becomes resistance to be going up, then this 61.8 here, where we've stalled, is the problem. And if we get above it, that's our bullish reversal. So 3634 in Cosmos Bitcoin. Otherwise, look for a full retest of the lows, unfortunately, and let's see if we can build a base down here. So above 3634 says we're going up again in Atom Bitcoin. And because of the fib rules, 786, 38.2 becomes our target. So that would be nice. It's up here. 4771. So our trade is between these two levels. Like this. And then obviously, if we break out this level, we've broken out of the channel. We're in a new swing. So 36.34 first problem. Now, if we look low time frame, we'd be looking for this to finish, pull back 50%, have another go, and so on. But that's what we want to see. And then this becomes our trade here. So for now, I would not be putting new positions on in Cosmos. I would want to see either a nice double bottom, an inverted head and shoulders pattern or something like that, or a break above this level. Hello, Kevin. Yeah, we'll look at some Aussie. Okay, Atom, Neo, Neo Bitcoin. In Neo, I feel like we made a big ABC correction. Stalled at this 38.2 fib, and if we measure it from this low, this is Neo Bitcoin. We'll look at Neo Dollar in a minute. You can see the second swing was 61.8 of the first swing. So when you make what you think is an ABC correction, the first fib retrace you look for it to come back to is the 786. So from this low to this high, so you put it on both the ABC swings, so ABC, and our 786 is our fib level target. So not quite there yet. So I'm going to be a little bit patient, saying Neo probably has a little bit further to fall, Neo Bitcoin to 1,000. And interestingly, if this level, obviously, these nice lows down here, there's a lot to like about this level, but that's where I'm looking for on this next swing lower. If we're lucky, it will line up with a nice ABC from here, and that would be really nice. Look for a correction, wouldn't it? We wouldn't be that lucky. No. In fact, that says a little bit lower. That's annoying. Okay, so a little bit lower, I'm afraid. In Neo Bitcoin, I'm not quite ready to buy this one yet. And then if we do reverse here, if we do get the bounce around here, or maybe that little bit lower, your confirmation that you're going up again is back above this 200 moving average and this swing high. So patience, I'm afraid, Neo Bitcoin. Let's see Neo Dollar. I can't remember which one has a better history. We use this one anyway. Neo Dollar. Yeah, this has got good history. Yeah, this is a little bit worrying when I look at this way. In fact, let's make sure we've got it horizontal. We'll draw a horizontal ray. We're fighting over these previous lows here, trying to hold them. And the price action isn't very inspiring yet, you know. So first sign that we would be going higher, more than 50% up of this big, nasty red candle. That would be, so 50% up of that. We're still in the bottom half of it. That's not bullish yet then. It's probably lined up with these lows that we'll do it like that. So we'll say above 7.6. We could also put our 236 fib on and get another opinion on the value this way of what would be a bullish reversal, or our first target if we got bullish price action. Oh, look, it's a little bit lower, 0.999. That's nice to know, because if we get above that, we probably are on our way. So at the moment, whilst we stay under this 236 fib and under these lows here, no reversal in neo dollar either. So what can we hope for? That this becomes a sideways range, that we retest the lows and find support. That would be a good look for a buy. Or if we break the upside and break up above 0.9996. One of those two things. Don't diddle in the middle here. You know, because you can get all sorts of, look how we've gone back and forward chopping people up. No false, those are false signals. Wait for one or the other. Or, you know, a lower time frame pattern. If you, like me, you like harmonic patterns, I would be, this worked for Bitcoin today, didn't it? So I'd just see where we are, like here. I think that was a 50%, but let's make sure. Yeah, okay. So I would be looking for at least 1.618 of this rally, because that was only 50% back. And I don't know if we got there yet. Not quite. 886. So 4.54 would be the level that I would look for a bullish reversal in near US dollar. 4.549. One more push lower. Okay. And I know this is one of those ones where at the moment it looks like a pretty nice equal measured move, doesn't it? Like A, B, C, everything to like. I just think this is one where we'll squeeze that one more push lower. So look for 4.54. Okay, I will do an Aussie dollar chart at the end, no problem. Okay, we'll look at Leo and where are we here? Neo V chain. I had V chain ready. So like so many crypto that we've looked at tonight, VeChain is also against Bitcoin at a level where I would expect a really nice rally from. Big 886 fib retrace. People say, where does the 886 fib retrace come from? Well, the 786 fib is the square root of the 61.8, and the 886 is the square root of the 786. So that's where it comes from. The 942, which is where this low probably was, is the square root of the 886. It's a very common fib level. It's also where back patterns terminate. Very often rallies from an 886 fib are very fierce, and your target, if you can get a reversal, is back to the 50%. So that's our target up here. Our confirmation that we're doing it is holding above 50, which is the 786. So VeChain is, again, like Bitcoin, at a level where I think that there is a good chance that we could see a reversal, but we have not got one yet. In fact, we've got this same sideways thing going on. So there's our 50. That's what we need to get above if we're going up from here in VeChain Bitcoin. Now we need to do, because in a falling market, we need to look at the US dollar chart and make sure that we are actually at a place where we would want to buy it in against the US dollar as well. Because if we're not, it's a little bit troublesome. And again, today we've lost some pretty nice lows here, which is a little bit of a worry, because if we stay beneath them, we're going to look for a fib extension lower. So At the moment, I'm not feeling it. Let me put a ray on so that I know I've drawn it correctly. From this low. Yeah, holding at new lows. Yeah, we need a bit more. So I would say leave VeChain for now. It's at a good level against Bitcoin. If that bounces well enough, it will pull it back up against this support and resistance level here. But for now, I would leave it alone. Not gone far enough to buy, and it's just kind of messing people up here, I think. Monero. Monero, the privacy coin. Now, this coin tends to do well when people want to hide stuff. But let's take a look at the weekly. This, this weekly, this failure at this weekly 50 moving average is a bit of a depressing thing to see. If I've got big fibs on because I was looking all the way for a nice big 236, but if we don't, and we just take the most recent 5-wave swing, this was at 38.2, so we certainly haven't reversed the trend. So we're looking to see if we can build a base here at the lows. Last week's candle was pretty encouraging. So I think if we can retest the lows and hold them, or make a nice lower high or something like that, that would be a good signal on the weekly. Here on the daily, though, just like how many other coins, we're holding underneath the daily 200 moving average. So that's going to be what's going to make us bullish. And we could spend a bit of time making a sideways range without being able to get out of here. So I'm looking for this resistance to break above these daily moving averages for a bottom. And the 200 moving average at the moment is at 7229. So above 7229 on a daily close, we've made a bottom in Monero Bitcoin, and until then, looking lower. And I don't think it's going to be any prettier in Monero dollar. Ah, look at that, new lows, holding a new lows there. Not prettier at all. Every single one now. Let's just see if there's like some support magically just underneath. No, not really holding it, are we? Yikes. So this, sideways consolidation, when you're in a downtrend, you have a big down move and then you go sideways and consolidate and then you carry on lower again. For us to reverse that downtrend on the terms of daily candlesticks, we have to go more than 50% up on this big red candle. So we're measuring it from the open close, not the tail. 50% is 43.49. So above 43.49, we've got a bullish reversal. Until then, that's 43.49. There we go. Whilst we're underneath this, we're stuck. So, and obviously these previous lows, if we rally, those lows are going to be resistance as well. So normally if you put on the 236 fib, they very often line up at the same place. There it is. So 42.80. So the Maribosu line, the 236 fib, these previous lows, they all line up to be a massive resistance for Monero dollar, and only when we get above there are we going up again. Otherwise, what we could do here, we could make a big A, B, C, and then carry on lower again. So important resistance that we need to overcome for Monero at 43. BCH. So I'm going to say I don't dislike BCH. I think it's set to outperform Bitcoin Cash SV. I think that this is potentially quite a nice support level for us to rally from. Look at these other fib levels. This 38.2 and a bounce. This 50% was a bit of a pivot here. This 61.8 was a lovely bounce, 786. But, you know, when you do this fib thing, it's like a staircase. So the previous ones become resistance. So if we're going to reverse the downtrend in Bitcoin Cash against Bitcoin, we've got to close above 0.034228. 34228. That's the problem level. Couldn't close above it today, did we? And look, we've got a nasty little double top here on the hourly, so it's not looking very good for it right now, is it? So that's what we've got to overcome for Bitcoin Cash against Bitcoin to be outperforming, or for you, be worth for you putting your Bitcoin into BCH. If we take a look at it against US dollar, now this is not a bad level at all. I don't dislike this level. In fact, this, you know, this big ABC correction thing has got me, you know, this is quite interesting. But we've got the same problem with all of these coins that had this really nasty sell-off, is that we've got this overhead resistance. And where does this resistance come from? Well, mainly it's people, because this is pretty nice, you know, ABC equal measured move, if we can rally from here. But the people who were long here at the 200-day moving average, as soon as we start getting up there, they're going to go, oh, thank God, my loss isn't so bad, and dump it. So they're well offside down here, can't wait for it to rally a bit so that they can reduce their loss. And so that's where all this overhead supply that we've got to work our way through will come from. Because those people that now hate BCH are going to be waiting to sell it to get out of it. And the same with all of these coins that had these really nasty drops. So we've got a bit of work to do. While we stay in the bottom half of this candle, can't get beyond that 50% level, we're still in a downtrend. Whilst we stay underneath the 236 fib from here, which is even higher, we're still in a downtrend. So we've got a lot of things that we need to work our way through. The good news is we've stopped going down. Now we're going sideways, and now we can go either way. Let's just wait and see which way we break out of this sideways range next for Bitcoin Cash US dollar. Bitcoin Cash US dollar is really good at following Bitcoin. So if Bitcoin rallies, it is really good at going toe for toe higher with it. So just got to break out of this sideways range. DCR debt cred. Where is little debt cred? Well, there's people who get OCD because I have too many tabs open. I hope you're surviving this week. I haven't got very many. Look, I'm prepared. Okay. Now, debt cred, I kind of feel like is in a bit of a declining wedge. Just like all of these other coins. If we take the wedge away, though, and we'll take our moving averages away for now, which are resistance, and we just look at our fibs from this low to this high. Okay, we did the 61.8, 38.2 messy thing twice, and now we're here at the 786, which if we can rally from here makes it a bullish Gartley and should get quite a nice reaction, but so far no sign. Now when you reverse from a 786 fib, okay, if you get above the 61.8, which is where we are here, so this is our 786, 18,388.78, so 183,878. If we get above and close above this 61.8, which is 208,484, if we close above here, our target is here. So the trade, the guaranteed trade, is from here to here. Underneath here is speculative. Hopefully we're building a bit of a base and it'll all work out. And look, we're retesting the bottom and we're trying to turn up again and everything will be okay. But we'll only know if we're going to be okay if we get above 280,484, and not only that, but because we've had a look above it before, this time we've got to get above it and hold above it. It's no good going up and then falling all the way back again. So yeah, I like the level in debt cred Bitcoin. Do you want to buy it? Like, potentially we could start going up against Bitcoin. If you've got a bag full of this is a pretty good level for it to bounce from. But let's look at debt cred dollar. Because if this is going down harder than Bitcoin, let's see what the damage is here at Bittrex. It's pretty ugly. Now, big correction here. Let's see if we've reached the 1.618. Oh, look at that. We have. Potentially, this is a pretty good level because we don't want to go to the 2.618. It's all the way down here. So we're a little bit sideways here at the moment. Oh, look at that. So the last thing you want, I'm going to put Ikonashi on so we can see what we're doing. Because the last thing that we're looking at, if we're trying to hold a level, okay, it's one thing if you wash back and forward through it. Okay, but if you get above it, you want to find support like we did here. Because here, when we found support, we had a really nice rally. If you just wash through, there's nothing going on. So, but even worse, if we do this and we look like we're turning down, that's the party over. So, why did I leave the Forex market? Honestly, because it was 2017 and there was just nothing to match the returns you could get in crypto. There was nothing like it. And I had a really good job then, you know, but the returns in the crypto were way better than, like, it was insane, 2017. Even now, you know, people say, oh, I think that the Forex market, you know, if the stocks can bounce, then the stocks might be a better trade than crypto. Nothing moves better more than crypto does. It really doesn't. So that's why I left the Forex market. Chloroquine phosphate is good for, is it? I'm getting so, do you know, I'm getting so paranoid. I literally haven't been anywhere with a bunch of people for weeks. And then some friends of ours came over today and they were out at a dance with like 100 people last night. I was like, don't come anywhere near me. Anyway, I'm changing the subject. I'm sorry. I'll move on. Okay, so that's debt cred. If we're looking at it against the dollar, really would like it to hold back above 9.835. Otherwise, I think that we're in a bit of trouble here in debt cred. George Mwangi, I have people that delete the bots. So there are so many people trying to impersonate me. Listen, I do not invest. I do not trade people's money for them. I'm trying to teach you how to recognize a trend and do it for yourself. Okay, so if anybody claiming to be me ever asks you for money in this chat or on Twitter or anywhere else, run away. It's not me, I promise you. Okay. Contentos. Now this one. Contentos. This chart had so much promise. I was so excited. Here, you know, we made a pretty nice swing failure. We reversed our, we flipped our moving averages to bullish. Our first target was the big 236, as always, the big 236 fib. And unfortunately, why won't this move? Okay. Here we go. Oh, there it is. Unfortunately, the big 236 fib is where we failed. So, and these previous lows. And so when we draw this and we say, you know, well, we've got this level, the fibs line up, the previous lows line up, everything lines up. That's major resistance. And in Contentos here against Bitcoin, that's where we banged our head and reversed. Now, if we think that this is a big ABC, then the most common place, the first place it should come back to, the first place we look for support is a 786 fib retrace. Are we there yet? Yes, we are. Right now, today, we have reached our 786 fib level. So this, not only that, but it is horizontal support and resistance here as well. We go all the way here like this. And you can see lows, 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 hopefully lows. So 90. I need some Ann Summers. I saw a hilarious picture of a woman who'd put a sanitary towel across her face as a mask and stuffed 2 tampons up her nose. It was hilarious. Such a good hack. Anyway, so here on Contentos against Bitcoin on the daily, we think that this is a really good support level at 90. We're going sideways here. Look on the hourly. If we break out of this sideways range to the upside, yeah, I think you could put your toe in the water just because this is such a good level. Okay, I'm going to go back to the daily and say where your first trouble. Okay, remember, we're reversing at a, so we'll apply some rules to help us. We're reversing at a 786 fib. Okay, 90. So if we do get that bullish reversal, our first resistance is the previous fib level at 102. Okay, so that's our first target. And if we get above 102, we're going to go to the 38.2, which is at 120. So this is the kind of sure thing trade, and this is the speculative bit, if we can get back up here. Okay. Oh, Emily, thank you so much. Thanks. So it's a pretty good level. Now we just have to watch and see, are we going to bounce off it? Double bottom, whatever. So far it looks good. Well, we're holding the lows, doesn't it? We just got to break the highs. And that trend, okay? You do not ever want to be fighting the trend. We need something to tell us this has turned the trend around. So not quite there yet, but potentially a good level for Contentos. Should we dare look at the US dollar chart? Because we might say, oh God, it's going to be awful. Do you know, I don't think it is too awful. That's an hourly, mind you. Oh God, it is awful. Look at this. Yeah, you really need to see this be going up against the US dollar. But unless your goal is solely to get more Bitcoins, you know, you can get more Bitcoins just by going to Tether. You know, you really can. So let's put our teeth from the... No, I just don't like it. I think it might go higher, but... So if we do go higher here in like a big ABC, these previous lows and this 38.2, that's going to be where the trouble comes, 700. Because if we just go, if we make an ABC correction, so we do this, that's the trouble area. So watch out for 701 in Contentos Tether. Nothing is going up, is it? I think it's I really cannot say this enough. If you've got a bag of altcoins, fine, sit on them. But if you're looking for cheap levels to buy new altcoins yet, you know, when you see a chart like this is not quite it yet, you know, because this can get cheaper. It can get cheaper. And it probably will. You just want to see the first sign that it's actually turning the trend and going your way. Otherwise, you can just get ruined. Now, Algorand. I'm going to say I do not know what this coin does, but I do like the name. This is a weekly chart. In any coin, okay, in any coin, when you have a big rally and you have a lovely pullback, this was a nice 786 or something, and we make new highs, your first trouble area is always going to be where it's making an ABC correction. So if we measure like this equal measured move level here, or if we count this as the low, this is what you've got to go beyond for it not to be a correction. So whenever you see an equal measured move, it's always a sign it's corrective, and potentially you're looking at new lows. Your first place you're going to look back to is a 786 fib, which we just talked about. So if we go from here to here, 786, and if you lose that, you're probably going to see new lows. So I have to say, Algorand Bitcoin on this weekly chart is looking like new lows, unless we hold on here, and it's not. Yeah, so we really do need to hold these previous lows at 2,517. Because if we don't, I think we're gonna see new lows. I know this is just a daily chart, so let's look under the hood. Now we could hold on here. So here's our sideways range in Algorand. It's a little bit messy. You can see even on the slow time frame here, we're doing that A, B, C equal thing. Whenever you're trading, okay? Same thing here. If we were doing this here on this hourly chart, if we see the same thing, this swing and this swing are equal. It's not quite here, but or if it rolls over before it makes kind of 5 waves and it's got that ABC look. Anyway, so here's our sideways range. If we break the lows, you really don't want to be hanging on for the ride in Algorand. I think it's got much further to fall. All the way down. So we're at 2,500 at the moment. If we come back and retest these lows, it's going to be down here around 2,000. That's another 20% you're going to lose, so don't hold on. That's Algorand Bitcoin. Algo US dollar. I'm just looking at the US dollar chart. I'd expect it to be ugly, but sometimes it'll be like a really cool support level or an extension level, and you think, oh, maybe it could bounce from here, but look at how we got, this is what I mean about these previous lows. In the dollar chart here, look how this low became resistance and then we couldn't get back above it. So now it's a little easy no-brainer, isn't it? First thing we've got to do if we're actually going to go anywhere is regain these previous lows at 1650, 0.1650. Otherwise we're looking lower, 1272 or 1.618. So 1272 is 0.76. This is negative, so we'll keep our eye on this one and we'll put the 1.13 in. Take them out. There we go. So resistance is 1650 Algo US dollar. Above it, we're going up again. Support is here where we are at 1208. And if we lose this 1208 support, we're going to look for 0.0726. And I've drawn this by going from this low to this high with my fib retrace levels. And I'm looking for the 1272 and the 1.618. Okay? Yeah. Not yet then for Algo, eh? Juarez. This is one of my favourite ones. I confess, I do like, but it's not behaving. Big picture, let's have a bit of a clean up here. Start again. This was another 38.2. So waves tether. We're looking at it because we need it to be going up against the US dollar. Waves tether. We've gone A, B, C up, and now we're in a big pullback. Very often, if we're going to make a nice harmonic pattern, a reversal of 38.2 like this will do a very deep retrace, maybe 786 or 886, and then it'll do another big swing higher. So that's what we're hoping for under the hood here on the daily. And we know we're going to be going up again if we get above this 200 moving average. That's how we know we've got a bottom. So far, we've got a beautiful big green kind of massive doji with a long tail, but we haven't been able to get back above this 200 moving average. I like the look of this as an ABC correction. I think it's been a bit of a funky one. This is a 1272. In fact, drawing this, we can say on the close basis, you know, if we can close above 0.8753, that would also be a bullish signal. So close above 8753 or trade and hold above the 200 moving average. So I like this level. I'm going to put my retrace like this. I think it's all corrective, but we should see another swing lower. Put my 786 fib on. There you are. There we are. That's where we are at the lows. So we can look at this another way, okay? Let's do it in bright red. If we reverse it as 786 fib, we've got to get above the 61.8. Oh, we have. Maybe we should go higher from here. Cool. I do like this one here. So ABC, ABC. So I'm looking for this to turn higher again. So if this was our first leg up, like this, wait, like that, I'm going to move it up higher. Our ABC takes us just a little bit higher above this 50% level, these previous lows. In fact, if I put my ray on from this first low, that lines up perfectly. So this gives us a nice big fat target zone, doesn't it, here? Now if we reverse engineer this a bit and say, what if we go a little bit lower here? Where would it all line up with the equal measured move? And that says 4687. So if we go a little bit lower to this 886, it's also a very good buy. Somewhere in this zone, then we're looking for a nice buy in waves tether between 0.46 and 0.56. And our target is up here at 1.92. So we're looking for that bullish reversal, which will be confirmed if we can get above that 200 moving average. Not quite there yet. Waves Bitcoin. So much promise, and then, you know, just falls back again. Put that back on. Okay, I'm going to take that away. Now, in Waves Bitcoin at Binance, I've been using this spike low. I'm wondering sometimes if I should just ignore it and put my fibs on here like this. But for now, maybe I'll just take it off and we'll use these previous support and resistance levels as support and resistance. I think that this one's grinding higher, but this looks like a bit of a leg. This is the problem. We really don't want to reverse here, because if we do this, okay, from this low, A, B, C, and it's dead equal. Okay, so we really don't want to come back too much further here, because that would be a corrective pattern and a bearish reversal. So where's our support? Where this 61.8 is. So I need to draw it exactly correct. Come on. Oh, you beast. There we go. So there's our 1717. We need a daily close above that to say that we're going up again. Otherwise, this is really nasty bearish symmetry. And our support comes in where we don't want to go, where we're bearish below 1404. So this is a bit of a consolidation zone. We're bullish above here. And we're bearish below 1404. So let's see what happens. But for now, this is a little bit worrying. Let's see. I'd like to see it turn up again and break these highs. If we can, then I've got big targets all the way up here at 3,000. But I have to say that, you know, anything else aside, if take all your drawings and your moving averages and everything else off, in a trend, you know, this is what a trend looks like this. So you have a sharp move, and then you have a consolidation and a pullback, and then the next swing doesn't come back into the previous one. And when it's corrective, it tends, not like that, tends to be choppy, overlapping. So this pullback will come into the previous swing and so on. And that's what we're seeing here. You know, it's all not very inspiring yet, is it? Doesn't say new uptrend yet. That's unfortunate. Now, if we came all the way back down and I'm dead wrong, and then we make a base here and then we take off, happy days. But until then, I'm afraid Waves Bitcoin's not inspiring me. Okay, what was the... have I ever tried fanatically trading? No. I'm going to look at Matic now, and then I'm going to look at the Aussie dollar. The theme, honestly, in all of these altcoins is none of them are doing well enough to... none of them are doing well enough relative to Bitcoin. We really need in previous rallies or when turns in the market, what tends to happen, Leo, I will do Leo, Yanzi, what tends to happen is Bitcoin will go first, and the ones that go toe-to-toe with Bitcoin will rally with it. And then the love will spread over a little bit into the bigger alts. I tell you what's not far behind Bitcoin at the moment that we haven't looked at. EOS is holding up pretty close to Bitcoin. Tezos is holding up pretty close to Bitcoin. Those, if Bitcoin can bottom, are good ones to watch, I think. So, now Matic. We really tried in Matic to get this rally going. I thought we had a bit of a fib going on here, a level with a 786 fib. We haven't, if I had drawn it from this swing though, if I put it over both swings like this, it doesn't line up too badly. Not only that, but these levels make a lot more sense. And so I'm wondering, potentially, could 161 and a retest of this spike low be what I'm looking for? Because if that's the case, this again would actually be, I've drawn it not quite right, and this is actually potentially a good support level for Matic. But whenever we think we've got a good support level, we have to wait and see what happens here. We've only just got here today. We've got a nice little hourly tag of that spike low almost. We're going sideways at the fib level, so it's a pretty nice look. Connor says it's also a 942 retrace. Okay, good, even better. So now we need to watch the price action. When the best thing that we can happen here is we have a nice rally, and then we pull back and we retest it, and it holds, and we flip our moving averages on the low time frame the right way around. And then we get a nice buy entry in Matic. So that's what I'm going to be looking for. So potentially, just like a lot of coins, potentially a good level. Let's see. I wouldn't just buy it blind yet, but let's see. Okay, let's take a look at Leo and then Aussie dollar. And then I think, so, you know, these markets, even if you're not, if all you do is trade crypto and you're not looking at the other markets, these are really crazy, scary times. And it can be really, the only way to trade it when the volatility massively increases like this, the only way to trade it is to go down a time frame, reduce your position size a lot, because you do not want to get stopped out and wiped out in volatility. So if you normally, you know, if your normal trade size is, you know, 10 blats, go down and trade 5 blats per position, okay, and go down a time frame, okay, and trade more frequently, smaller size when it's really volatile. You need to be a little bit nippier getting in and out. Otherwise, you are honestly, a wave is going to come and hit you, and it will wipe you out, and it will hurt a lot. And these markets, they can make you feel like a genius, and then the next day you're all confident, you think you can, and believe me, I've done this more times than I care to admit to. You think you're a genius, and then, you know, you're not. And the market has taught you a pretty nasty lesson. Now, from the all-time highs to low in Leo Bitcoin, we're looking at Bitfinex, but I'm just going to make sure that there's no better history. I don't think there is. No. Okay, good. Bitfinex is the best history. So we reversed at a big 50% level. First rule, when you reverse at a 50% level, if you come back below the 38.2, we're going to do 50% the other way. So have we completed our 50% retrace going this way in Leo? Yes, we have. Very nicely. So now we've done our 50%. So literally then you go in this tighter range. So you rally 50 until you break out of the pattern. I know that sounds crazy. So from this low to this high, you can bet your bottom dollar that this will be 50% here. Oh, look, there's 50%. So we're just waiting for this pattern to break. We've pulled back 50% here. And at some point, you know, it gets into a tighter and tighter mean reversion, and then it explodes. So this is where we are at with Leo Bitcoin. I'm going to say we're probably going to do this to the downside. And it's just a feeling. Let me see. Because remember, we've got a big 5 waves up here in Leo. And now we're looking for 3 waves back. Have we, you know, done it? Have we done one of those ones where the second swing is 61.8 of the first one? Not here. Not here yet. So if we were to break these lows and just do that 61, we could just do a marginal new low here, somewhere around 15,537. And then I would look for it to go up again. Otherwise, we could just go sideways in this range. You know, we've got this big range going on. Shall I tell you when I'm going to be ready to buy this again? Is when the next time this daily 20 moving average and this price tag touch. Because whenever we're in a trend, okay, like each time we pull back, and when we're in a downtrend, we come back to this 20 moving average, and then down we go again. Back to the 20 moving average, down we go again. And when we were in an uptrend, we got above it. Where did we pull back to here? This 20 moving average and so on. So I think that in terms of, we could go sideways here for quite a long time while this 20 moving average catches up. Well, all the time we're up here, it's on a nice trajectory. Shouldn't take too long. But I'm not ready in terms of timing to be putting a new investment into Leo until we catch up that 20 moving average. So I think it's fine to hold some. Clearly, we've been in a very nice uptrend. How many times have we talked about these big candles? And, you know, the reverse applies, okay? We're going to stay bullish if we stay in the top half of this big Maribosu candle. And that's what we're doing pretty perfectly. So we're just consolidating sideways in a really nice uptrend. So if you've been a holder of Leo since way back when down here, there's no reason to get out of Leo at the moment. This is all corrective. This 50% thing is all corrective. So let it consolidate back and fill, and then let it go up again. So I like Leo. This is a timing thing. I don't think it's ready. Okay, I'm going to look at the Aussie dollar. Okay, as you know, I'm expecting a bounce in stocks. I'm going to take a look at the monthly chart of Aussie dollar, because we're at a big level. This monthly chart, for people who aren't Kevin, I said this a gazillion times, I apologise. For other people, we've made a perfect textbook in Aussie dollar ABC. So that means that this swing and this swing are equal in price, distance, so on. And when you make an ABC correction, you should come back to the 786 fib. And finally, with this move in stocks, we've made it to this 786 fib level, 61.25. So potentially, we could find really nice support and rally from here in the Aussie dollar. The thing is, and here's the problem with the Aussie dollar loves an 886 fib retrace. I don't know why, but whenever it can do an 886 fib, it always does one. So potentially, if we close underneath this 786 fib level, 61.25, we're going down here. The Aussie dollar is very correlated with stock indexes. It does look like it's trying to make a base. And I do think that in the next couple of days, we are going to make a base. But it's just, yeah, it's really testing. Let's go back and put this low on, because I'm going to say below that low. Let's mark this low from here. We've got a bit of wiggle room, but 786 fibs they're normally quite sharp, so I wouldn't give it too much wiggle room. Now that we're underneath it, again, for example, like here, if we now can't get back above it, so by tomorrow, if we look like we've done that, then that's going to be a bit of a concern. So if we rally back to retest it, that would be a little bit of a concern, okay? But yeah, this is choppy, sideways price action at a very, very big monthly fib retrace level where I would expect more of a reaction. Just haven't quite got it yet. So no reason to get out, no reason to get in. Just sideways at the level, trying to chop people up before it makes it move, as usual. Okay, so there we are. I hope that was helpful. I hope you learnt something. I do have a live strategy group. You're welcome to come and try it out. It's £25 a month. If you find that it's not helpful or that you don't, even if you like it but you haven't got time to come, or it's so you can't benefit from it, or you find you don't have the time or whatever, you get your money back. But we have a really cool, helpful group of traders as well. So hit me up if you'd like to try it. And I will see you all next Monday. Oz says you'd like to assist further. Okay, thanks, Oz. Anyway, this is a very scary time. Nothing to do, it's a scary time in the markets, but it's a scary time in the world with this sickness. Take care of the people you love and be careful. Really be careful. So, see you all next week, hopefully.